This is Tournament 7, Round 1 on my journey to 1500 over the board. I want to share with you guys this very special game because although I made mistakes out the opening, I got my act together and into the middle game. I completely outplayed my opponent, and I am just so excited to share this game with you all because there are many lessons to be learned from the opening of this game and certain moves that I made and why I made them, even into the middle game of this game. So without further ado, guys, let's have a look at this game. I open up with the move d4. My opponent plays the move e6. I play the move bishop to f4, getting right into a London system. My opponent plays the move f5, getting into a Dutch defense, which is interesting. I keep seeing the Dutch. So I'm going to be doing some work with the Dutch defense and just learning the ideas of this particular opening. Then I play the move knight f3. My opponent plays the move knight f6. Then I play the move knight at b to d2. My opponent plays the move h6. Then I play the move e3. The computer says that this is an inaccuracy, but again, I'm playing the London system, so I'm just getting into my opening. My opponent plays the move b6. I play the move bishop to d3. There was only one good move there. This permits the opponent to kick a bishop. Okay, so I guess the computer is saying a move like this is now coming, allowing them to kick a bishop, but the best move, okay, knight e5. Knight e5 is fair, but I was just completing my development. My opponent develops her bishop to b7. I get castled. Okay, guys, so far, so good. Some inaccuracies, a mistake, but so far we have a pretty even position. The position is still pretty even here. And then my opponent plays the move g5. I thought that was interesting, so I played the move bishop to e5. My opponent asked my bishop a question. I immediately cut my opponent's knight. My opponent takes back with the queen. Now, guys, this is a move that took me about 8 to 10 minutes to make because both strategically and intuition-wise, I could feel e4 is the right move. That's why this game is an important game to learn from, because in my body, as soon as she took back, I just knew e4 was the correct move. But I'm sitting there at the board, and I'm analyzing it, and I just couldn't see the line all the way through. I was thinking, okay, e4, pawn takes, knight takes, and then queen takes pawn. Oh my goodness, y'all. Queen can't take pawn because the knight was there. No, I was thinking e4, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, and then queen takes. I felt in my heart of hearts that e4 was the correct move, but I just couldn't see the line all the way through. So I took about 8 minutes off my clock here thinking about the next move. I knew for a fact e4 was the move. I knew it was the correct move, but I couldn't see the line all the way through, so ultimately I decided not to play it. Okay, I have not met with my chess coach yet so that he could fully break this down to me because I'm still not all the way seeing it. Let's take a look at it though. e4, okay, we're just gonna play computer moves. Yeah, then he kicks the knight, and then what? Okay, I take care, yeah. See, I knew I was basically supposed to sack something, because let's say she takes, then what happens? Rook to e1, e5, bishop e4, knight c6, queen takes f3. Yeah, so basically the whole idea with the move e4 and sacking a piece was you're going to sack a piece and basically go at your opponent's king that's still in the center of the board and your opponent's queen. And I knew e4 to be the correct move, but the line, I just could not see it all the way through, so ultimately I didn't decide to play it. But this was the whole idea behind e4 instead of the move that I played, which is queen to e2 is what I played in the game. But I felt like in my heart of hearts, I knew e4 was the move. But because I couldn't see this line here all the way through, I didn't play it. So at this point, after she takes back, queen captures f6, I play the move queen to e2. It's an inaccuracy, not a blunder or anything, but it is an inaccuracy. The move was e4, and I knew it was e4, but again, I could not see the line all the way through, so I didn't want to get myself in a situation, you know, knowing that it's the move. The reason that I know it's the move is because I'm going to get to your king, period. You're going to take a piece, but after my pawn pushes and whatever goes down in the center of the board here, my rook is going to come over and be vis-a-vis this king. And I knew that, but I just couldn't see the line all the way through. So ultimately, I played the move queen to e2. But that is a great learning lesson from this particular game. And I can't wait to sit down with my coach and go over this game because I know he's going to break it down to me in all the ways it needs to be breaking down so that next time I don't fear playing the correct move. You know, so that next time, even if I can't see it all the way through, I know that it's the right move instead of being afraid that it is not. Anyway, my opponent plays the move g4. Okay, I put my knight on f8. And I didn't really love to have to retreat my knight, but that's what happened. and that's no problem because everything is still all good here. My opponent plays the move h6, and in this position I was very much comfortable now with playing a move e4. I didn't want to wait again. I immediately played a move e4, and the computer says that's an inaccuracy. The computer is suggesting c3 first and then e4 in this position because that pawn is hanging. But we're about to open this thing up here, and I'm going to be looking right at your king. So I played a move e4. My opponent takes, and then I take with my knight. My opponent takes with her bishop. Now, the question in this particular situation, again, guys, I know without a shadow of a doubt, I know for sure bishop takes is the correct move. I know, I could just feel it, like intuitively and strategically. I know bishop takes is the correct move, but just I couldn't see the line all the way through. I don't know why. I just couldn't see it all through. I thought, okay, after bishop takes, she's gonna push forward with the pawn. That's what I missed. Okay, bishop's gonna take, and then if she pushed forward with the pawn, then guess what? The bishop could take the pawn because this pawn is pinned to the king. Guys, bishop takes was the move. I just didn't play bishop takes because I could not see it all the way through. But looking at it now, duh, bishop takes, you're going to try to kick the bishop, but then bishop is going to cut because your pawn is pinned to the king. And I see, like, in the round after this particular round, I'm starting to see that tactically I keep missing pins. Like, I literally was, it's almost like I'm overlooking when pieces are pinned to the king in one way or another, and I'm gonna show you guys that in the next game. But anyway, yeah, bishop to c4. I played queen captures c4, or queen captures e4, and it's not that it's a bad move, but I just knew that bishop takes was the best move. But because I couldn't see the line all the way through, I didn't play it. Okay, because what the computer is suggesting here is after bishop takes, you don't want to play d5 because the bishop takes, of course. So the computer is actually suggesting that my opponent plays c6, and then that would be followed by c4. King to d8, and either way, this king's got to start running because I'm behind. So in that case, I mean, she did have something to kind of calm it down. So I'm not mad with my move. Queen captures e4. It was just a matter of me knowing that bishop takes was the correct move, but of course you got a block roach, you lose that. Or if you play here, you don't want to play that because then you lose that pawn. But I just felt bishop takes was the move. And that is the number one recommended move from the computer right now. And I'm sure that's what my coach is going to say as well. But I just couldn't see the line all the way through. So instead, I played the move queen takes e4. Then my opponent played the move e5. And then in this position, I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to say too much, right? Because my opponent's watching my videos. I can't just say everything. But the thing is that d5. And then I immediately played a move check. The computer says this is a mistake. Queen e2 is best. But I don't understand how this is a mistake if when I go here, that forces my opponent to cut, and then I play the move check, and then you have to run, which ruins your ability to castle in the future. And guess what? I'm going to expose that. So I like that move, queen to g6, but I'm sure when I go over this with my coach, I'm going to learn a ton. But after this move, the computer is suggesting queen to e2, which then my opponent will play bishop to d6. And this is just a bit slow for me, c3. And then c3, c6. Like, this is just very, very slow, and f3, and you know what I mean? So ultimately, I am happy with my decision to do. I'm happy with my decision to play the move queen to g6 because it ruins my opponent's ability to castle. So guys, this is the game so far. My opponent has to move her king out of check, knight to d3. Apparently this is a mistake, but I like this move because it allowed me to get my knight back in the game. And what I'm going to do is get these rooks on these open files and do some damage, right? So I play the move knight to d3, and then my opponent plays bishop to d6. Then I play the move rook to e1. Apparently it's a blunder because my opponent has this move, rook to h6. And then my opponent plays rook to h6. See, this is the thing. Okay, I was happy with my move queen takes because bishop takes, ruining your king's safety. Now you have to move, right? The reason that this game is there's so much to learn from it is because there were moves that I knew to make, but I didn't make because I couldn't see them all the way through. That's one. And then there were things that I knew not to do, but I did it anyway. Like leaving my bishop out here unprotected and all alone on g6. My bishop is still on g6, unprotected and all alone out there. But of course, I play a developing move, knight to d3. The reason that this is a mistake And I haven't gone over this with my coach yet, but I'm sure the reason this is a mistake is because you're leaving your bishop out here. You're leaving her out here to be attacked all by herself, and these squares are all covered, right? And that is going to lead to my blunder. My opponent plays the move bishop to d6, and then I make this absolute blundering move, rook to e1. Now, in playing it, I'm thinking, you know, my rook is taking the open file. I'm doubling up on your pawn here because my bishop's going to come here and we're going to look at this pawn. But what I missed was my opponent has this move, rook to h6. And after rook to h6, then I have to play bishop to f7. And then my opponent would play something like knight to c6. And these are all just computer moves. Then I would have to make up for it. You know what I mean? I would have to just deal with going down in material and basically outplay my opponent from here. But yeah, I would have had to deal with going down in material. Yeah, I was playing moves that were interesting to me, but doing things that I know not to do, such as leaving my bishop in this unprotected state. Just like I know that moves are the correct move, but I don't play them because I can't see the line all the way through. So this is going to be a great game to review with my coach and just go over things and just kind of learn from this game and just overall just be more confident making the moves that I know to make and be more confident like not leaving pieces on the square where you know it's unprotected and you know it's not safe, right? It's not safe for this bishop to stay here so many moves all by the bishop, all by herself. My opponent has the move rook to h6. I thought that I would have moves to save my bishop with a move like this. But after bishop to f7, my opponent plays knight to c7, knight to c6, and then the computer is actually suggesting that I play f4. Yeah, f4. But then after I play f4, my opponent is going to play king to e7, and then my bishop has to fall. Bishop takes, and then rook takes. And then I'd be a -2 in that position. Immaterial. So not the best way to be playing right now. Leaving a bishop all the way out here unprotected and by itself. And I know that, right? And that's why, again, this is going to be a great game to review with my coach and kind of make better decisions and be confident in making those better decisions. So yeah, I played rook at a to e1. And guess what, guys? My opponent missed the blundering opportunity, not once, but twice. So it was good that, you know, if I would have went a -2 material, I would have just had to lock in and outplay my opponent from there and try to win a game strategically after going down in material, which would have been quite difficult to do. But my opponent did miss the move rook to h6. Anyway, I think she was just so focused on this kingside attack. She wants to get this rook on this file, and then she wants to bring this rook over and get this rook on this file. She's so focused with this kingside attack that unfortunately isn't going to amount to anything. So I play the move rook at a to e1. Then my opponent plays the move knight to c6, and then I play the move b3. And again, that's a blunder too because my opponent still has the opportunity to play rook h6. So that's twice where I'm playing the game unprincipled and I am keeping my bishop alone in my opponent's camp without safety, without a square to run to. So this is just not good for business. And then my opponent missed the move again and she blunders with rook to g8 because now I get to play this beautiful move, bishop to f7. And from here, we have completed our opening responsibilities. And like I said in the title of this video, it was a very, very rocky opening. But now I get my act together and I completely dominate this middle game. At this point, it is still even in material, and let me show you guys how I go from a really rocky opening where I made some inaccuracies, knowing the right move, but ultimately doubting myself and leaving my bishop out there all by herself to be attacked and captured without any good response. So let me show you guys my middle game where I play a lot better. Bishop to f7, and my opponent plays the move rook to g7. Immediately cut the pawn, check. My opponent moves her king to d8, cut the other pawn. Then my opponent plays her knight to e7. At this point, I'm a +2 on material. I drop my bishop back to b3. My opponent plays the move a5. I play the move knight to e5. My opponent plays the move rook to f8. Then I go with my bishop to a4, cutting off my opponent's ability to go back this way. At this point, this is just going to be a beautiful light squared attack on my opponent's king because my opponent has no way to guard these beautiful light squares because all she has is this bishop, and this knight won't do it by himself, right? Bishop to a4, knight to f5, and then I immediately play the move knight to c6 check. After knight to f5, this was another interesting position in the middle game for me because it took me about 3 to 4 minutes or so. Do I continue with my, attack on the light squares against my opponent's king, or do I attack my opponent's dark square bishop with knight to c4 with the desire to just trade pieces off the board because I'm up in material. I'm a +2 in pawns, right? So, but ultimately I decided to do it strategically, and the computer actually now this was a time in the game where I knew the right move and I played the right move instead of playing more like hope moves, such as like knight to c4. That's more like hope chess. I hope we trade the bishop, I hope we exchange pieces, but it's not strategically sound. So this was a time where I actually played the best move after knowing it was the best move, even though I considered a bit of a less good move with knight to c4. So yes, I jump in there with knight to c6 check. Where you going with that king? If you step on the light square, there's going to be some discovered attacks, and you can't step on the dark square because this rook owns this whole entire file. So check, my opponent moves her king over to c8, and then again I consider moves like knight to c7, but those are all just one move threats, doesn't really amount to anything. So I didn't want to play like that. I wanted to play the game correctly and strategically sound. So I just play a beautiful middle game, just all correct or good chess. I play solid chess, not hope chess, not hoping for the right move, but I actually, think of the right move and play it, unlike I did in my opening. So I played the move rook to e6. My opponent plays the move h5. She's still going for h4. She's still going for this kingside attack. I just ignore her, right? So then I play the move rook at f to e1. My opponent plays king to b7. Then I make this beautiful move, rook to e8. And at this point, we're going to trade these rooks off. And I'm already looking at how I'm going to checkmate you. My opponent plays the move bishop takes. And that's just a desperate move, right? That's the type of move that you make when you know you're losing. Your king is somewhat in a mating box. And now more materials coming off the board. And you're just like, crap, I'm losing. Let me just try to find something. So yeah, that's more of like a desperate move. You just take a pawn on h2 there, but what you did was you just lost material. That does nothing for your position. It doesn't help you. So my opponent then plays the move g3, still into this kingside attack that is not real. Immediately I cut the pawn, my opponent cuts back, and then I play the move king to g1, and we're all good here. Everything is all good. My opponent plays the move rook to g8, then I capture, my opponent captures, then I play the move rook at e to f1. Just a beautiful move. And this middle game is just so solid because look at the way I'm playing. I'm just playing correct. So I'm just playing strategically sound. You know what I mean? So instead of attacking a bishop and playing hope chess and then the bishop running away and chasing a piece around, I said, no, you're weak on the light squares, and that's exactly where I'm going to beat you at, with this beautiful light square bishop and all these pieces coming into the attack. So I play the move knight to c6 check. My opponent has to move, and then I get my rooks active in this attack here on this beautiful open file, and I'm coming for your king. And then my opponent plays the move king to b7. Then I play the move rook to e8, and of course in a position like this you could feel that you're losing. So a desperate move like bishop takes h2, that's totally fine. King takes, push forward, I take, my opponent takes, then I drop my king back to g1. Now what? My opponent puts her rook onto g1, I take, my opponent takes, and then I play the move rook to f1. Now rook to f1 was a very, very special move because you're hanging here and then you have this knight hanging. So when I made the move rook to f1, it came natural to me because I just know that this rook has to babysit this knight, and I'm going to get another piece to attack this knight, and you're going to lose a piece. That was my idea behind rook to f1. And then my opponent plays the move rook to f7, and that was just totally losing because now I have the beautiful knight fork, of course, check, and I'm also threatening your rook. And my opponent then plays king to a6. I take the rook, then my opponent runs around with his knight a bit. And again, guys, I'm in no rush. I'm not in a rush. It's no speed thing. I'm just taking my time and I'm playing the game correctly. Yes, I could let you take my rook and take back, but you know what? Let's just do this correctly. The king is in a mating box over here. She cannot go anywhere along these light squares, right? The king is restricted to these few squares that it has on the queen side. So I play the move rook to f3, and then my opponent moves the knight to c4. I play the move b3. My opponent moves back. Then I ask the knight a question. Yes, I could have took the pawn, but if I take the pawn, you get to trap my bishop, right? And I'm not letting my opponent get anything like this. No, I'm not allowing anything in this game. So I attack the knight. My opponent backs up. Then I attack the knight again. And the reason that bishop to c6 was so special is because I knew that once I got a bishop to c6 and then I get a rook on a8, that's checkmate, right? I was already looking at how do I checkmate the king. So this was a perfect opportunity to play the move bishop to c6. Now I'm looking at your knight. Where are you going with that knight? The knight has to move somewhere, and then I pick up the pawn. Then my opponent makes the move b6, simple and easy. I drop my bishop back to f3. My opponent moves her king over, and I said, okay, this is over. Rook to g6, asking the knight a question. My opponent plays the move c6. I take the knight, and then my opponent plays the move h5. I, of course, take the pawn there, check. You got to move the king, and she went backwards. So, of course, that is checkmate after b5, guys. And that was the game. And I am so happy I could show it to you guys because it was a really, really rocky opening for me. I had some inaccuracies. And the reason that this game is special and I can't wait to sit down with my coach and review it is because it's not just that, you know, I played a rocky game. It was just more so that, you know, I knew the moves, but I couldn't see the line all the way through. And instead of trusting myself, I played something else, which was less accurate, right? So I had some inaccuracies out the opening, and I left my bishop on a square where it was completely unprotected and unsafe. So that's just a move that's not like me. I know to get my bishop back to safety, but I left her out there hanging. My opponent did have the opportunity to capture my bishop, but I do think with the king where it was and the position of everything, I think I would have found a resource to, if I would have lost the material. I mean, well, no, losing the material is pretty bad. So, yeah, like, it was just an interesting opening that is a ton to learn from, so that next time I don't second guess myself when it's time to play a move like e4, like I was supposed to play it. And I don't second guess myself, like, is it okay to leave the bishop out there? No, it's not. Get your bishop back where it belongs. So that was a really, really rocky opening, but as you guys could see, I made it through, right? We made it through the opening phase after some inaccuracies. That was a good cut. Like, after knowing to play the move e4 but not playing it, you know. But we played it well. Even that queen takes, when you know bishop takes is the right move. But queen takes I'm okay with, right? Because I get to ruin your king safety. So that's fine with me. So, guys, it was just a pretty rocky opening after a move like rook at a to e1 because she does have the move rook to h6, and I just kind of overlooked that. But I survived a rocky opening, and I from this point forward, I played a middle game without zero inaccuracies, zero misses, or zero mistakes, or zero blunders. Thank goodness, because if I would have lost my bishop, I would have had to play really, really sound in order to gain the type of position that it took to win. I would have been a -2. Like, I still would have picked up a pawn. And, you know, I just would have had to play the game extremely strategically sound in order to still win. So, overall, guys, really solid game. And my middle game, this particular game, I'm very, very happy with. But I'm so excited to learn about some things that I did wrong in the opening. Especially just knowing the moves but not playing them due to not being able to see the line all the way through. So I'm confident that my coach will review that with me and we will do things so that next time I won't have to be fearful of playing the right move. Even if I can't see the line all the way through, I know it's the right move. Like, I knew e4 was the correct move. I knew bishop takes was the correct move, but I didn't see it all the way through, so I didn't play it. But at least in the middle game, instead of playing a stupid move, a hope move like knight to c4, I did what I was supposed to do, and I played on my opponent's light squares. I jumped in there with my knight check. Where are you going with that king? And I just began my beautiful attack. And at this point, there's nothing my opponent could really do about it, guys. So I appreciate you for taking a look at this beautiful game with me. Even though it wasn't so beautiful in the beginning, my middle game really, really got me back into this, and I played a solid overall game. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.